Hi everyone. This is the custom status sync meeting on 2nd June. So yeah, let me just share the screen, see what we are looking at today. Yep. So yeah, you're able to see the agenda, right? The meeting?
Yes.
Perfect. So thank you everyone for adding the confidence level, and I think it's okay. 8 is okay, good. I mean, good sounds. 8 sounds good. 8.5 Stephanos. Nice. So yeah, Simon, you can add your confidence. What do you feel?
Also, eight. I'll write it in
8?
now.
Okay,
I just opened the doc.
okay, no problem. Cool. Is there any before starting the agenda, is there anything else you want to add, or let's just start, okay? If there's anything else we can cover after we cover these topics. Stephanus, would you like to vocalize?
Sure. Yeah, I think like in general we have to go a little bit through the board and check if all the kind of must-have labels in the statuses are still valid. And maybe yeah, just move some things like to nice to have or some follow-ups because I think we changed a lot of stuff lately, especially on implementation, and I'm not sure if the board is up to date with everything. But also, like, we should somehow like add assignees to like important like tasks or issues that needs to be done, and to have a better overview of who is working on what and finish everything like till like for the next 2 weeks actually.
Yeah. I thought I assigned everything to myself, but I saw two issues which I hadn't, but I did allow. So assign myself. So I have this point after this that the individual DRIs are correct here. So we can go through that right now to just see that who all is working on what. Uh, if there is who is the backend DRI for import, export, transfer groups, I can fill that right now so that it will be the state, the single source of truth.
We haven't decided yet. I think for the transfer groups, it's on the top of the uh, issue board. So whoever has capacity can pick it up. So at the moment, from me, I'm working on both the APIs for custom status page and the issue boards. So I'm not sure if I will have capacity to pick up it soon, but if somebody else has time,
Yeah,
feel free to.
I can take that. I think like I have only the bulk updates that should be finished soonish, so I can take that.
Perfect.
But okay, I haven't checked the issue actually. I will check to ask more. I will ask more after.
No
Yeah,
problem.
there is a discussion on that issue because we need to like work closely with another team, but we are implementing the work. But yeah, there are some chats that you
But
can go through on
okay,
that issue, and it seems like a pretty like a chunky piece of work, I would say.
do we need front for it? Because I see there is no.
N- No, we do not.
No, okay.
As far as I know, no front end is needed, as far as I understand. But
Okay,
it,
then
yeah.
then is it like a requirement for 8.1 or we can do it still at 8.2?
So in my, I think this is not we do not require it specifically for 18.1 because it doesn't require it is backend handling of when we transfer a group or project. I don't think there is any field introduced or something that we need to consume at the front end because the front end part there will it's a discussion there which I can link later where Nick Leonard confirmed that we don't need the front end mapping when we are transferring group or project for 18.2 GA. But yeah. So yeah, in short, it is okay to be done in 18.2, but I'm not sure how big of a work this is. So uh, whenever like it just has needs to be done when before we dog food. Yes. Do you have the link here so you can go through the discussions?
Yeah, no worries. I think we can do it later. Like, I mean, I was just like, just want to ensure that, like, yeah, we need it before or after 8.1. That's all.
So if it's an 18.1, good, great, but
Yeah,
not something which will cause MVC issues or something, because I don't see any API or any parameters that API being consumed for this. So yeah.
Yeah,
and also for, oh, sorry.
I would say the most important thing that needs to be delivered before the cutoff is the bulk edit functionality, especially that REST API endpoint, and the rest I think can roll over to the next milestone. Um,
But now a question out of curiosity, not that we need to block it, but like we have the bulk edit is in REST API. Is it gonna break anything like for backward compatibility? Because even if we send, I think the status, it shouldn't cause any problem, right?
I had a chat on that issue with Alexandra, and Alexandra mentioned that there is a possibility that it will cause
Okay.
some issues and it will error it out. Because I wasn't sure as well whether the multi-version compatibility issues only applies to GraphQL
Ah,
or
yeah. Okay.
both.
Yeah. I think I read about it. Yeah. Sorry. It's still early for me.
No, no problem. I think I replied to one of some of your questions in the bulk edit issue
Yeah.
where
Yeah. I will check them later.
yeah. So yes. Uh okay, coming back to the DRIs, I think we have the DRIs clear. I'm according to for instrumentation, I'm not sure if there is any work. I mean, I just need to track the events. I mean, it's a small thing. If there's something needs to be done on the front end, I'll do it. But we can decide on the back end DRI for that, depending upon who has the capacity in 18.2. And I don't think it's definitely not an 18.1 blocker. So I think we can decide that in 18.2, depending upon who has what works. So it's okay to leave it like this for now. What do you think?
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good.
Perfect. Okay. Check all the issues and must have labels. So, as far as I went through the board, I think we have it's just some backend issues. We do not have any assignees to them. So if I'm not sure we should do it right now in the meeting or just go through the agenda points and come back to it. Or we can just do it right now. What time is it? We still have time. We can go through all the issues and
Um, can we
Yeah.
check like there are two issues that I was checking on Friday, and I am like for the backend one. For example, delete status. I think we not gonna do that, right? If I'm not mistaken.
So we decided
Like
not to delete statuses in active state, right? Uh, uh,
okay, we still have
but
to
we
do
still need,
the API. Okay.
yeah, we still need to like mark them as archived, like that they were self deleted. So I think we can assign this one to me because that will be a part of the APIs that I'm building.
okay. And the milestone, I'll let it be 18.1 and you can change later if you feel like. Yeah.
I
Okay.
think that can be on 18.2, right? No, it's an API. Sorry. No, it's not. No.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I let the author decide. I mean, yeah, the assignees, I see some of them do not have assignees. Let's assign them first and then we can, whoever is working on it can maybe, it's this is API, so I think, Agnes, you are aiming at delivering all the settings APIs in 18.1, right?
Yeah, that's the goal.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so trigger, issue, webhook, events, and status update. And so who is working on this?
Not
I
sure yet. I think there is a discussion
Yeah.
and some comments from Mark below that there will be only like a small change to it.
Okay, but Stephanos, when you worked on status updates, was is this linked to that? Like when we have the status and the state events.
Uh, I think actually I don't know. I have to check about this, but I'm pretty sure we just have to add the status on the payload of the webhook, so it shouldn't be a big deal. So you can also assign me to do it. Like it shouldn't be big.
Okay.
But
That one should also be like a 18.2. It could be
yeah,
18.2.
yeah,
It's not like a yeah.
that's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Perfect. Um, let's see.
There
Now,
is a new one that I added today. So we already handle moving and cloning work items. When we provide a system-defined status, we just need to add support for custom status. So that should be an easy change as well. And it can be handled later.
18.3.
Then yeah.
I think. Wait a bit, because no, I'm confused. I saw something else for movements or moving or movement. I'm not sure. Like I think was a bit higher on the list. Can we also go to this?
I think it's for issue boards, which should be part of my
Yeah,
work as
that.
well.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that.
No, it was. I think it was another one. Can you just this one? Implement movement
Yeah,
logic.
this
Actually,
is.
I was reading about it, but what is it?
So
Yeah.
it's about this is an issue board. If I try to move an issue from here to here,
Okay.
so the if the status if it's I'm moving an issue from in progress to, for example, closed state, then when I move it, its state and status should be updated. So
Okay.
yeah,
So it's moving board from board. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Because yeah, okay. I think that might be already happening, but we have to test
No,
it.
it's not.
Not
We
okay.
tested that when you clone an issue with custom status, it works. But when you try to move it from a namespace that uses custom statuses to namespace that uses only system-defined statuses, it doesn't apply any status. So the movement logic needs to be
Okay.
updated.
Let's see. I mean, I tried, but it wasn't working 100%. For example, if I take from close to open, it changed the state right now, but there is some use case that wasn't. So is it okay to, there's some use case that wasn't working, but I can't test it right now because I can also add this list by status. So it's in review. Uh, but whom should I assign it to? And then I mean, it's as far as I know, there is no API change for this, right? It's just to and from, right? To list and from list, isn't it?
I
Yeah, we don't
think
need to
yeah.
update the mutation, but there are some updates in the backend. I
Yeah,
already assigned myself to this one.
okay,
It makes sense as I've been working on those issue boards for me to pick it up.
perfect. And I see that this is not updated real time, so I just refreshed the board. Uh, okay. So transferring group, did we? I think
Yeah, you can assign me to, yeah.
yeah. You assign it to yourself. Allow setting, yeah. This is already implemented for system defined statuses, right? And needs to be implemented for custom statuses.
Correct.
I'll let any of you decide. But I'm pretty sure this can be done in 18.2. So, mm. So we'll just leave it for now and then maybe decide 18.2. If,
I think so. There are
Yeah.
quite a few issues, especially like towards the end of the issue board, that like we might leave without a signee. So like whoever has
okay.
time to pick it up can work
I'll
on it.
just what we can do right now. I think, but if I is it's still 2 weeks remaining, but I don't want to move the milestone for 18.2 for everyone. So maybe we can update that mid next week. If we don't have the capacity, we can move the issues. Or if we are particularly sure that we won't be able to pick it up, then I can move it right now. Like what do you say? I think this bug can move to 18.2. Um,
Think
Definitely.
so, yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. So rename. Right. Right, feature specs. Simon, is it okay to keep it in 10.1 for now? Or should we? Okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay. Uh, Application logic to set namespace ID for current status instead of using a trigger.
Yeah, 18.2, I would say.
Okay. Delete status 8. It's 18.1. Okay. So I think mm, it's just okay. There is
That can also go to 18.2, I think.
It would be good to do it as soon as possible because we still don't have like much records in the production database. And I think it will be easier to rename with like a smaller database. But yeah, we need to do it at some point.
okay. So should we? I'll let the milestone be 18.1 and whoever picks it up, maybe it's not like a blocker for 18.1, but depending upon the absolute priorities are lifecycle management page API, the mapping, and the bulk edit. So as soon as we are done with that, then we can start picking up depending upon whoever has the time. Um, I'll let the milestone be 18.1 and maybe we can move to 18.2. That's okay. Does it sound good or should I just change it? Anyone?
No, I think it's fine. Don't worry.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I think we should. Good for it. Let's see. Documentation, I think. mm,
Yeah, I mean, okay, let's go through to see that everything is correct milestone, I will say here. Maybe if something needs to be done before.
I
But I
think
think,
this list is 18.1 only. Are you talking about?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, on 8.2, let's just see that they're correct assigned to the milestone.
Yeah. Yeah, this documentation is fine for, but I was just assigning it to like myself, the
Okay.
documentation. And if there's any need, I mean, I'll just ask any of you help if I need. Um, this is also front end, so yeah, this can be put it. I can assign it to myself. Yeah. Instrumentation. I'm not so this is also hide statement status is enabled. This is also okay for 10.2. My main thing is I'm not sure if there is any. I tagged all of you in this, and Nick mentioned where all we need to track the events, create and edit it. So I think there should be some handling done from the back end also. So right now, when you change the work item status from the widget in the sidebar, then there is an event work item status updated that is tracked. Other than that, there is no other place in the UI where we are changing the work item status. Maybe there is some event in lifecycle management page which we need to track, but other than that, we will need some backend work when the statuses are updated automatically on state change, and all those use cases. So for that, I would need DRI from the backend. For now, I have assigned it to myself, but whoever wants to work on that or have any inputs, you can just feel free to add them on this issue thread.
There are also like quick actions, right, which are not going to be tracked by your front end event. And
Yes,
so,
yes, yeah, quick yes, exactly, yes, things that I'm missing. So we can add that also here, and we
yeah,
can,
I think it's better tracked on the back end. Like it could be because everything goes through the same like update service thing, and we could do the event tracking there.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
I could look into that after I do
so
the thing I'm doing.
so the milestone is anyways 18.2. So I'll assign
Yeah,
to you, and then we can take from here. Take it from here. Thank you. Let's see. Hmm.
We still want the front end events for that in places that we have it. Like we seem to have a bit of duplication
Yeah,
with for
we might.
mutations and things, which seems fine. But
I mean, I can remove it from the widget. It's if everything is, because anyways the mutation will be called, and if backend is doing it on creation, automatic updation, then it can handle. But it's okay. I mean, just don't want to lose an event. So if backend is handled, but if there is any use case which can't be handled by the backend, okay to add it on the front end. So as long as there's no duplication, yes. Um, okay. Allow setting custom. I think there is no DRI for this for now, and we'll assign someone, right? In 18.2. Perfect. This as well. This as well. All the issues which are unassigned in 18.2 can be picked up by whoever has a rollout. I think all of us are assignees, so it's okay. Uh, yeah, I think then we are good. But please, if there's anything that we are missing, and I might be missing, then please mm, shout out before the Monday meeting, and then we can hopefully handle it. We still have 2 weeks from today, so that's nice. Cool. Agnes, would you like to go through I think it's self-explanatory
yeah.
if there's anything.
Yeah, we already
Yes.
went through that list.
Yeah.
Nothing to add.
Yeah. And I think we just decided on the DRI. This is also done. Dog fooding. What about dog fooding? Are we going to enable it in 10.1 or earlier? So we had this discussion in this rollout, in this feature, in this issue. Uh, and we are not dog fooding anything for 18.1. We're enabling full feature dog fooding. So it would be a good idea to discuss when we'll be able to, when we are in a stable state, like in 18.2, second week, third week, where like it would be a good idea also to have a week or two at least a week, just to test out things and not push anything for last week of implementation, as if we can do it, so that we just see how stable the system is, and actually test out all the things together, and like, but it depends on how we are going, definitely. So yeah, I mean, how soon do you all think should we be in a stable state in 18.2? Second week, third week? What do you think? Anyone?
Yeah, I guess when we can see when like majority of the things we have are ready for test. So, but I guess it should be probably around first, like second week maybe.
I mean, yeah, second week, third week is also okay. Yeah, I don't know. I know from front end, I can tell you what are the big things. When the API is run, I think status settings page, lifecycle management page is the big one, which needs to be completed. And we have bulk edit. Other than the other small things, I'm not sure if anything else will take more time. So I am personally comfortable by the second week of 18.2, but we'll see if there's no other surprises or blockers. So it should be decent enough in second week. So yeah.
Okay.
Uh, Heinrich,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah,
after
I wanted to discuss this thing about the behind the scenes transformation from a system defined status to a custom lifecycle and custom status, right? Because if you see from the mockups, we are rendering the settings page, the system defined status looks like a custom status, right? They are listed there. You could rename them. You could add a new status. So there are many operations on that page that could trigger this transformation, right? One example would be like adding a new status. It would, it's going to be a two-step process. Create the equivalent custom status first, and then add that new status you're trying to add to that new lifecycle and new category, whatever. The other thing, maybe I think more tricky thing is like editing a custom or a system defined status. So if you want to rename the existing to-do system defined status, the mutation would look like update status, uh, or are we putting it behind the update lifecycle? I haven't really looked into the details, but anyway, but the IDs would be the system defined IDs, right? That you would be passing in because you don't have the custom status IDs yet on this page. And then, like I said, it's going to be a two-step process again. So you create the equivalent set of statuses and the lifecycle. And then you want the backend to remember what the user was intending to do and map it to the correct custom status that you newly created, right? You want to rename the one that the user was referring to, and you have to map it via the system-defined status ID that they gave. So I wonder, like, yeah, is that what we're gonna do, or like, if we want this to expose this complexity on the front end or not, or like, yeah, because if we do want to expose a transform to custom lifecycle mutation or whatever in the front end, then that would be a separate, API or a field or a mutation. So it would be a 18.1 blocker if we decide on that. So
Mhm. Okay, I'll go first.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't like in the front end, whenever we fetch the statuses for namespace also, the front end is agnostic of the if it's a custom status or system defined status. It's just, I know from IDs that it's a custom defined slash GID. From GID, we know that it's a custom status or system defined status. Otherwise, there is no special handling done on the front end for custom or system defined. It's just a status. That's it. So I think we would like to do the same on the for when we are actually like first edit in like you say, this is the all that process has to go in the back end, but I'm not sure if it will take time and you want to show a message that it's being done in the background or something. I don't know about that. But we would definitely like to do that in the back end unless there is a use case that I'm not aware of and I can't be handled otherwise. Some complexity
And there,
happens, yeah.
yeah, there won't be a like waiting time there or something. It's just creating a few records. It's just I'm wondering on the front end if it complicates your like the Apollo cache or whatever, right? Like you have this lifecycle ID one, system defined one, and then like status system defined one. Then you edit the system defined ID one to do custom whatever. And then when you get the response from the backend, the IDs will be totally different, right? You get the different lifecycle ID, different set of status ID. So you'd have to clear the old data or something. But
Yeah, we'd probably just do a full refetch of the life cycle after that initial change. I was considering that, yeah, we could do any kind of custom step multi-mutation thing that we wanted in the front end. But I assumed this would also be possible using just GraphQL queries. So do we need to support that workflow as well, or we just tell people like you run this mutation and then this mutation if we're doing separate ones?
Yeah, that's yeah, good point. This is a concern also for user, like the API usage, right? For the customers, like
Yeah.
because it's kind of odd also to them if they would like, query my custom statuses or life cycles, and then I get this, and then I edit one, and then I get a completely set of different IDs.
Separate set of responses. Yeah.
So you'd have to tell them that, you have to clear your cache or something the same way that we do right now on our front end, right? So it's
Yeah.
also a
And that was
special note.
I had thought that if we sent a system defined status with edit, then it does, yeah, seem weird that that would work at all. And it's also then modifying other records. So maybe the separate mutation for convert as a first explicit step. I don't know.
Yeah,
So
both options are not ideal from a user perspective when you are trying to interact with an API, right? I mean, if you think about it, we don't want to, expose this implementation detail to our customers, right? Why would I need to convert? I thought this was a custom status or something.
Yeah.
But I think we've discussed with Alexandru that maybe this is not like 100%, right? Like, but maybe like after the GA, the plan is to backfill all custom status so we don't even have this custom defined thing to reduce complexity for, our front end and also for our customers interacting with our APIs. So yeah, that would be an option. So maybe the no extra mutation approach we're going is fine because it won't be a problem once we backfill everyone with the custom statuses anymore.
But
at
we're
the
still gonna have a problem with. Sorry, go on.
at the moment, I'm working on adding a mutation to update lifecycle, and it's based on Mark's proof of concept. So if we pass the system-defined lifecycle, that means that we don't have any custom lifecycles. So we are creating one in the background with custom statuses. But if you pass the custom lifecycle with some new statuses, then we'll update that lifecycle and statuses or remove statuses that are not included in that list. So I think it depends on the front end what kind of statuses will be sent to us in the backend, I think. If we try to go with that one step mutation where we try to call the lifecycle update mutation.
Because the thing here is also with the mapping, right? Because we're trying to do some mapping when you create this custom lifecycle, custom statuses. So if you rename like to do custom, for example, and send this whole payload to the backend, right? And then the backend receives a system-defined status. So what it does, like you said, it will create a custom lifecycle, and then it will create the custom statuses under that lifecycle. But aside from that, it also has to know the mapping. Like this custom to-do that is creating is mapped to the to-do system-defined status and store that somewhere. Yeah, as long as the backend can do that, I don't know if that's already accounted for in your MR, like for the mutation.
Yeah, that's something
Because
thing that I've been working on today to be able to create that new custom lifecycle if you only have system defined one. But yeah, there
yeah,
is like much more to handle when you try to like delete those statuses. And there is also a case where you can provide default statuses as well, because default statuses for the system defined lifecycle and custom one can be different. So you should be able to provide that via mutation as well. And we should be able to handle that in the backend. So
Yeah.
I think question to Simon would be from me, like, what would you be passing from the front end to the mutation for us to handle that?
For the initial step from system defined,
Yes.
whatever you'd like. Presumably just so the first one is just editing statuses. So if we want to say edit a status name, then we just pass the new name and the status ID and optionally lifecycle ID or anything else you need. But so that could potentially be a system defined ID with the
And
name
in the
and
backend,
update
we'll
this.
create a new custom lifecycle.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I'm just not sure then what the response from that should look like.
I mean, from the time, like for example, like the first time you create, like you edit actually a status. Let's talk about editing. For example, let's say like as Henry High from to do custom, we will create immediately the mapping. So I'm thinking like even if because we have the mapping, if we send you the same IDs, like for example, we have a custom defined status, but we send you the system defined status ID because we have the mapping then. So we know in the backend like what to do. Maybe for you it wouldn't be a problem because then you will have the same IDs.
Yeah,
You know
that
what I mean?
makes
Or
Yeah, the question first is that are we going with a separate mutation for every small thing that changes, or is it like custom fields where there's one big save button, you want to save all the changes you made to the page? Because what I'm looking at, like the MR for Agnes, is like just one mutation, right? Update lifecycle, and you could update all the even the child statuses or everything under it, right? It's not like you could rename the status and then you could save, you could, create a mutation just for rename status. I think it's just the update lifecycle with all of the statuses under it. Is that the plan?
No, I think there is an API to update the status separately, right, Agnes? There's also an API to update the status
Yeah,
separately.
there is another issue that I haven't worked yet to
but
update the status, and we'll have a create status mutation as well.
but then do we need then an update lifecycle? I mean, the life cycle, for example, do we need to update statuses if we have a status already? If we have a status API already?
Yeah, because we only have one lifecycle right now, so maybe we don't need the update lifecycle, right? Or is there?
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah, the only thing that will be like accepting through that mutation is default statuses and
yeah, that one.
statuses. Yeah, and we won't be updating like a name of a lifecycle, for example. That's scheduled for later. So I thought that the update lifecycle mutation will be the main mutation code from the UI, where you have the update lifecycle button.
We won't be exposing any lifecycle term in the GA, right? So,
yeah, not yet. We just have statuses.
yeah, the UI will just like list the default your one lifecycle statuses immediately on the page.
Yeah. I'm trying to find the designs. I can't see it here. Is there any other?
I can share.
Yeah, I don't know. It must be. I've seen it, but it's not linked to this. Yeah. Yes. Thank you. I'll stop my share.
Where is it? Okay. Yeah, it's this one.
Yeah.
So when you go to the settings page status, there's really no life cycle here. I mean, there is a life cycle behind the scenes, but this is your single life cycle. It's all shown here. So what I'm saying is like if you rename this one, that would trigger update status mutation, like you said. And yeah, I don't see like a big save button, so I guess that's the behavior, right? If you change here, it's like a different save operation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just edits that inline. So there'll be a save button for that row, but not for the whole life cycle.
Yeah. And how about the reordering? Are we doing that or not? Not now or something? Like, is that a separate mutation or where?
That's a good question. I know there is priority linked to every status, but on the front end, right now there is no ordering depending on priority. It's the same order that is returned from the back end. But I also
Yeah,
remember discussion where it was like not in 18.2, but I can't really pinpoint to that discussion right now.
the
Is there
backend uses it to sort the items that we return. So
uh, yeah, Simon,
Yeah, I think that one would be part of a life cycle mutation, right? Because that's either affecting multiple statuses by changing the order,
yeah,
or it's yeah.
because in the life cycle, you're like returning an array, or not really returning, but passing in an array of statuses, right? And in this case, I think it's the order of the items in the array that's changing. And
Yes.
I have a question that when I update, when right now we have a system, we have a default life cycle, and when I update a status, that status is converted to a custom status now. Is the life cycle ID also changed?
yeah, it'll be a custom life cycle.
So, okay, the life cycle ID is also changed. Uh, 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 I think now that I think, I don't know, Simon, I think we will have to do we will have to have a check or something because, or maybe Apollo itself will invalidate the cache and call the query again. I'm not sure.
We're getting the list again. We just do a full refetch after the
Everything.
mutation the first
But
time.
what if in case it's already a custom lifecycle and we are editing the status of a custom lifecycle, then we don't need to do any like not the first edit, it's the second or the third edit. So it's already a custom status and
Yeah,
we
then it's fine.
so then we'll not refetch, right? I
Correct.
mean, but my point is then we'll have to do some checking on
Code, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's
That's
just
what I'm
if it's a
asking.
system defined status when you
So we're going to put that GIT check, right?
yes.
Yeah. So we haven't done anywhere till that. That's what I'm asking. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I wanted to avoid that, but okay. But we probably
No,
can't.
I assumed that there'd be like at least one or two in this page, whether we did a different mutation for the first time or just something like that.
Okay, so
And
like sorry, go on.
yeah, go ahead.
I know I was to say like so actually we're gonna have a lifecycle update that we just change the default statuses in the order and then status update to rename them or delete them, depends.
Yeah, I think that would be. But technically,
Right.
on the update lifecycle, you could pass in an updated name on the status array, right? Like, what would happen? Do we update the name there? Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if the update lifecycle or the edit lifecycle, if I have the lifecycle and I just pass an array from the API, just pass three statuses, for example, and doesn't like by default, if there are five categories, the
Yeah.
category is still in place. Categories are there, right? Or no?
Yeah, the categories are just hard coded.
Okay, so what if I pass just three statuses to the life cycle? What about the remaining? Will there still be some backup of default statuses for the remaining categories? How is it all done?
They're
And
just empty, like the triage one in that screenshot.
okay,
You can just have an empty section with an add button and no statuses in it.
okay. And I can also provide one, and I can also provide empty array. Is there a check from the backend for that?
Yeah, that's something we need to decide on. Like, will that count as a delete, right? It's gonna
Yeah,
be equivalent
exactly.
to yeah.
Yeah.
So, and the other thing I wanted to bring up was the limitation around the mapping stuff. We've discussed this before on the back end, right? That because of the way the mapping works, we cannot delete statuses that are in use right now, at least for the short term. So we need to have that restriction on the back end.
So like it's 21 items here. So this will still
Yeah.
be done from the backend, right? In the fetch life cycle, the number of items that are using that status.
Yeah. I'm not sure if are we doing that in the first iteration? Like the counts?
Not yet, we aren't.
I don't think
I think
so.
yeah, I think it's fine to not have the counts. It's just that when you delete it,
It's
will
just when you delete,
pop
we
up
need to
an
check.
error or something. This is
Also,
currently
the
in use.
backend will delete. I thought on the front end we'll put a check that no have the delete button for the status. And otherwise, like on the front end, we can only put a check if there are items using that status.
Yeah, it will be a backend validation for now, I think would be the
Yeah.
easier way to go.
Yeah, just let them try to delete and then
Yeah,
error.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah, but yeah, just bringing it up as a limitation with our mapping stuff because yeah, if you delete something that's used, then we need some kind of like background data updates or something to move the statuses. And eventually our front end also would need some changes for this because like in next, I don't know if it's here, but there was a design where if you delete something that's used, you will actually get a pop-up of like where to transfer the status.
For mapping, yeah.
Yeah. You're supposed to enter like, yeah, once you delete this is used by 21 items. What will their new status be after the delete? So yeah, it's here.
We need to provide the
Yeah.
yeah.
So since we can't do this yet, I mean, it would take time. So I think to de-risk stuff, we can defer this for later and just prevent the deleting of statuses that are currently used.
We could still do this and then just tell them, okay, go do that in bulk edit.
Yeah, basically that's it, right? Like we're telling them to update first before deleting.
Yeah.
Instead of us doing this thing because this would involve batch updates or something and could pose problems for large groups or projects.
Yes.
So just to confirm, we will be still implementing mutations to add statuses, update statuses, and update lifecycle. And for each of those cases, we need to undo if the custom lifecycle doesn't exist, we need to create a new one. Is that correct? Yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the add status thing or if you want to put them under this because if you do a separate add status mutation, then where does it go in the list of statuses, right? The order thing. Does it automatically go to the end versus if you go this way, then it's always part of this array of like statuses and you could set the positions there.
And
So at
also
the
looks like
moment we
sorry, we have
only sorry, yeah, you go.
no, just one question before. Do we have order per category or is gonna be generic order?
So at the moment, if we are in the context of a life cycle, we order by category, position, and ID. And if you try to query like all of the statuses for a namespace, we are unable to order that the same way because we no longer have that position of a life cycle. Like we can try ordering that somehow, but it will be much more difficult. And Mark and I had some chats previously because we expose position on a status, but at the moment we only default to like 0 because yeah, we don't have the lifecycle context in order to like correctly order that. I'm not sure if that answers this question.
Wait, I'm still trying. I'm still thinking about it.
We can try order by category, order statuses by category. When you try to list all of the statuses that belong to a namespace. But I think for our settings page, we already, as long as we try to update the lifecycle, we already are in that lifecycle context. But when you try to like list all of the statuses, then they might not be ordered. They won't be ordered. They are not ordered in the backend at the moment.
Yeah, but if you add like add a status, right? If it's a separate mutation, then you don't. I mean, we add the add button at the end anyway, so we could assume like we're adding to the end and add, the highest position. We could do that.
And then we can reorder. I mean, not the customer can reorder if they want.
There's an add button for each category though. So it'd be adding it to that position in the list. Like if you added one to triage, that'd be added to the top.
But that position is only like visible in the front end. We don't store that position in the backend.
I see.
Yeah, because it's gonna be because I think we have only one field for position. We don't combine it with category at the moment. So if we want to do it per category, it will be a bit trickier.
Yeah, I don't think we need to anyway. We just sort by category, comma, like position, right? And I think it's fine to when you create a status, whatever, just add the max position, then whatever category it is in, it will be the last item. I guess it's the last added one, right?
Okay.
Okay. Then I think it is decided that it will be done in the back end. Hendrik, we don't need a separate API to handle custom and system defined life cycles, right?
Yeah, I think that's the more like future proof. If we go with the backfill thing on 18.3 or something, if you backfill all custom status, then I think that continues to work the same way.
Thank you for this question. And
I'll
then
just coordinate with Agnes on the schema for the mapping stuff. I have a MR open that yeah, I'll let you know when it's ready. But basically what I did was just store a system defined ID on the custom status table. So we're storing what system defined ID it came from, basically, instead of creating another table to store the mapping. So I think it would work for this particular use case.
Yeah, if you have a look at that MR that I shared, I already tried to use that like attribute when trying to
Okay.
create those custom statuses. So it might work as well. It's commented out in this update service.
Just a question based on that. So if when we have in the future multiple life cycles, it will still work? Like for example, like custom status will always be pointing on every life cycle on specific system defined status?
No, I don't know how it works with custom multiple life cycles, because even with like Alexander's like mapping table, you're mapping custom status to system defined, and you don't know, if a status could be used by multiple life cycles, and should it still map when it's on a different life cycle, and those kinds of questions. But I think we could tackle it later once we decide on, if we drop the system defined altogether, then maybe that wouldn't be an issue.
okay. Great then. We still have the confidence level of 8 after the meeting, right? Yes. Okay. Perfect. I it's going to be interesting when the settings page comes and we will just see the order here and there. I'm a little, I don't know, I have position after reordering, I want to see how it works, like if the order is still maintained in the API. I'm very intrigued to know. Yes, I think it should be fine. But yeah, we'll know when the update life cycle is in play. Yeah. Other than that, I'm not really worried about anything else. So yeah, that's good. Awesome. Is there anything else that we want to discuss? We already over time, but if there's anything else that we want to discuss, and if nobody is short in time, we can. Otherwise, we can discuss async as well. Mm,
Nothing from me.
I'll take that as a no. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for your time, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
See ya.
Oh.